This is a review for producing the gear puller hook. So I'm going to try and go through some of the steps that we talked about in class. To get started, we're going to make sure that we're in the rendering format wireframe. We're also going to make sure that we're in screen plane, layer scale of 1:1, and the front view. And to get started on this, I'm just going to draw a circle. And that circle is just going to be 5/8 of an inch diameter. You'll be getting all your sizes from the working drawings. To get started, I'm going to draw that, and I'm going to center that at 0, 0 on the page. After that, I'm going to draw another circle that's the size of the drilled hole. And I'm also going to center that one onto our page. When I look at the working drawing, the other end of the gear puller hook down here also has a circle. You just need to find the radius of that and where it's located. That would be the same size as the original red circle we drew. So I found it easier to just copy, paste in place, and then move that circle into place using the dimensions from the working drawing. Just like that. That's the left side and right side of the gear puller hook. Now we just need to find the 4 arcs that connect those. So before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and use some constraints to sort of lock these circles into place so they don't move around in space. In the tool sets and in the dimensions and notes tool set, there's a tool set called constraints. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to constrain concentric, the first 2 circles that I drew. Concentric arcs and circles share the same center point, and if I constrain those, the center points won't move. Once I click on the edge of the red circle and the edge of the yellow circle, you'll see a green circle shows up. That shows me that those 2 are constrained concentric. Now what I can do is I can lock the yellow circle. With that locked, the other circle won't move. The other circle is going to stay constrained or almost locked to that yellow one. Now I also want to put some constraints on this other red circle over here. I want to make sure that it doesn't move vertically or horizontally from these 2 circles. So to do that, I'm just going to use constrain horizontal and constrain vertical distance. When I put those in, they'll look like green dimension lines show up. But that tells me that that distance is now locked. I could still move this circle left or right, but I couldn't move it up and down. To make sure it doesn't move left or right, I'm going to use constrain horizontal distance. Put that dimension in, or put that constraint in as well. Now all these circles are locked into position, right where I need those to be. The next thing I'm going to work on is an arc that has to be tangent to this red arc and forms the inside edge of the arm. So I'm going to draw a circle. Just set that circle up to the correct radius. What I did there was I moved it over on the x-axis from 0. I moved it over the distance of the radius of the red circle and the distance of the radius of the larger circle, which I'm just going to also make as a red line. Now with that locked in there, what I'm going to do with that one is I'm going to just constrain the radius of it so that that size doesn't change. and I'm going to make it tangent to the original red circle by using constrained tangent. That put a tangent point in right there. I'll be able to use that later when I work on drawing the arcs for this. Now there's a larger outside edge. It goes from the outside of this circle down until about the middle of the gear puller hook. You'll need to find the radius of that one on the working drawing. I'm going to draw that in. It's just a blue circle. I've got that blue circle drawn in there. Now, if you look at the working drawing, you'll see that that center of that arc is given on the working drawing. So I'm going to use the Y location. And now what I'm going to do, just to make sure that that blue circle doesn't move up or down, I'm going to go ahead and use my constraint tool again and constrain this vertical distance. So there it is, 3/8. That's on your working drawings. If you haven't found that dimension yet, find that one on the working drawings and circle it. I would use blue. I would use the blue color for the radius and the blue color for that location dimension. Now what we're going to do is just go ahead and make sure that these two arcs are tangent by adding a constrained tangent. So now what I have is the inside arc for my gear puller hook and the outside arc that is tangent over here. Now what we need to do is find a circle or an arc that's going to be tangent to both of these. We could use our geometric construction to do that, but with our constraints tool, it's a little easier for us right now. So all I'm going to do is draw a larger circle. I'll make this one green. I'm going to find the radius on the working drawings. And that is eventually going to be the arc that connects this circle to the outside edge here. So let's go ahead, use the constraint tool, and put that in place. Now it looks like my red circle changed there, so I'm going to just constrain radius on that one as well. Let's try that again. There we go. What I have now is I have tangent points for the arc that starts the outside edge of the arm, tangent points for the rest of that arc right there. Now we need one more arc in here to finish this up. That arc has to be tangent to the red circle, and it has to end on the center point of this red circle. So all I'm going to do is draw in a reference line. Right here. And now I need this arc to end. So to find out where the center point of that arc is going to be, again, I could use geometric constructions. And what I'm going to do is use the arc tool. Now that happens to be a 3-inch radius. You need to know that to be able to accurately put this arc in. So what I'm going to do is click on the center point of this circle, and I'm going to draw one radius, one arc. that's exactly 3 inches away from the center of that circle. So that center point is going to be somewhere on this arc. Now it needs to be tangent to this red arc as well. So if I did a concentric arc that was 3 inches, 1 1/4 plus 1 3/4, I would have the center point right up here. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my arc tool from the center of this red circle. That's 1 1/4. I need it to be 3 inches from this edge. So 1 1/4 plus 1 3/4. And I have that arc right there. See how that arc, if I go from this point through the center over to this edge where I need the tangent point to be, I would have exactly 3 inches. 1 3/4 plus 1 1/4. Now I'm just going to use the Connect Combine tool. In the dual object connect mode. And they locate the center point of my 3-inch arc. If I swing this from the center of the red circle there, you'll see it's exactly 3 inches. When I swing this past, you'll see that that arc meets up tangent with the red arc. Now to find the tangent point, you guys all know by now, you take the new center that we had, connect it to the old center, and I'm just going to extend that through. And there is the tangent point that I needed. That's all of the construction work that I need for this gear puller hook. Let's finish it up. First thing I'm going to do is use the arc tool, and I'm going to draw in the arc that I need for this outside edge of the hook here. I'm going to find the center point of the blue circle, click on the tangent point, swing that arc around to the other tangent point, and I'll just make those arcs blue. So there's the outside edge of the gear puller hook. Now we're going to do this other edge. So I'm going to use the arc tool. That was the green circle. We go back to the center point of the green circle. I'm just going to go from tangent point to tangent point. I'll just use a different color blue for that one. So there's the outside edge. We have two arcs that are tangent to the two circles and tangent to each other. Now I'm just temporarily going to turn the fill off on the blue arcs. I'll turn that back on in a minute because I need to draw the arcs for the inside edge. So again, I'm going to use my arc tool. I'm going to find the center point of this red circle because it goes from that tangent point to this tangent point. And there's going to be one arc. Now I need the arc that goes from this tangent point to the center of the red circle. That was this black arc, center point's right here. Again, I'll just make that a different color green. And when you see this all go together, hopefully it'll make a little more sense. Even with just this, we can start to see the gear puller hook shape taking place right here. Now there are a couple places that we need to fix up on this. One is this hook has a perpendicular cut in it right here. So all I'm going to do is use my polyline tool and add this into the cutting tool. Another problem that we have sometimes is we end up with a little gap between these two arcs sometimes. So it looks like this one worked out pretty well, but I'm just going to draw in this triangle and make sure that I have this space filled in right here. There's one other problem that we end up with, and that's where these arcs meet up with this circle. So to fix that up, I'm going to draw one more little triangle in here. Just like that. Now we've got all the work that we need. It's only a matter of adding surfaces and clipping surfaces to finish this thing up. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to add these two little pieces together using add surface. You can see how that filled that little gap in there now. I'm going to add this patch. You can see that that's filled in. I'm going to add this to my cutting tool. So now I'm ready to go. Let's get started. I'm going to take my original red circle and this light blue arc and add those together. I'm going to add the dark blue arc. And the red circle. So those all get added together. Now I'm just going to use the light green arc and clip surface. I'm going to use the dark green arc and clip surface. I'm going to use the yellow circle, unlock it, and clip surface. And what I should end up with is the gear puller hook. All as one piece right there, ready to extrude the thickness that's found on the working drawing. And the last thing I should need to do to that is fillet these outside edges. Now, if all goes well and everything's correct, we can fillet these edges, not the machined edge on the hook, but everything else. You'll add a brass texture. I'm just going to add a brass color. When that thing's all done, it'll look just like that. That's the instructions video for the gear puller hook. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.